Hey everyone, wherever you are and whenever you are, we're here on the play, Curryvore's blue-white mid-range list. Yeah, this hand looks all right. Got some things to do, some critters to cast. Let's hope for a good, clean knockdown, drag them out. Game of Magic. We're going to go ahead and just lead off with the Flooded Strand. So our opponent has gone down to 5. It's a little unfortunate, but so let's see. Unless they play something that makes me think otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and fetch a Hallowed Fountain. Okay, so Stomping Ground tapped, or untapped rather. So okay, interesting. I was going to say, if this is a bird, if it was a Birds of Paradise, I'd be much more incentivized to fetch a blue source. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get this second fountain down. Hold up this opt at the end of the turn. I'm not sure what Stomping Ground fetch shock or fetch shock Stomping Ground means. Stranglerootgeist. Okay. So we have some sort of Stompy-ish-esque deck. With the red, they are probably playing things like Bushwhacker, if I had to guess. So let's go ahead and opt on their end step. The Sphere. We'll put that on top. I could see them doing something silly here. So we're just going to go ahead and play out the Fortress. Get these Finks down. I guess I forgot how obnoxious these hybrid mana symbols are. And pass the turn. So Finks and Geist here are like the two mortal nemesis here. They're pretty opposite in what they do. So since our opponent, oh boy, Fauna Shaman. Okay, discard creature card. Search your library for card and reveal it. Put it in your hand. Okay, so a tutor on a stick. I think we might just go ahead and Detention Sphere that. No attacks. Excellent. I feel like this is right where we want to be. Since this thing here has haste, or not since it has haste, it's already in play, but since they have the potential to play another one, considering, yeah, we're going to play Field of Ruin here, just so we have the Settle the Wreckage available in case we want it. We also have Snap Opt. I really don't know what they can go and get with this. But I don't like the idea of tapping out for Detention Sphere right here. Although maybe it is just the best thing to do. Unclear. Let's see if we can get a little more information. Alright, so the way they're fetching makes me think that they don't play Blood Moon, at least not main deck. Especially now with playing the basic mountain. So we're definitely going to Vendilion Clique on their end step if they do nothing. And I'm sure they'll have a Bolt or something of that nature to deal with the Clique, but I just want to try and get a better idea of what our opponent is capable of here. Oh, okay. So this is the Kragenwick Cremator deck. So let's see. So this is a deck that's going to look to play Kragenwick Cremator, which I think is like a 5/4 for 4 that discard a card at random, and then you deal with damage equal to its convert mana cost to the opponent. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll take, because we don't really have a way to stop them from casting the Kragenwick, and they can tutor it up here, and they have the mana to cast it. Let's get rid of the Great Worm, I guess. Don't love it. So they have Evolution and 1 land in hand. Okay, Wall of Omens. So we're going to start off with getting in there with the Clique. I think we're just going to hold the Kitchen Finks back because I want to play out the Wall of Omens here because I want to stave off this Stranglergeist for as long as possible and keep my mana up. Or sorry, not my mana, so my health total up. So that is a sorcery. So do I want to take away his Geist? I don't think so. I don't actually have any. I'll play out the Strand here. I think I'm going to try and snap opt on the end step. Maybe I'll keep the snap in hand. I have 0 experience playing this deck. I've actually never even seen this deck played before, so click down. And they draw the Craggy Wick. Okay. So they can get it right here. But if they do, we're just going to go ahead and de-sphere it. On our turn. So our opponent's figuring out. Oh wow, okay. So they do play Magus of the Moon, however, so we are dead. We are fairly dead here. Although they do not have a mana source as of right now, so just continue to do this. Right. Opponent plays a mountain. Imagine they have to start attacking at some point, right? If I would have known, yeah, we definitely, obviously would have cracked the Flooded Strand in response. But we did not, alas. Okay, so we will keep our planes hidden for now. Having a good old standoff here. Alright, so there's an island. So I'm going to go ahead and play out the island, and then next turn we can try and get this Magus off the table. And yes, post-board and post-board games, we're definitely, okay, so there's this thing when it enters the battlefield. So I don't think that you're going to kill us here. What do they have, like a bolt or something? They can tag our Finks and then discard, and then automatically hit us with whatever their big gross thing is. Ooh, ouch. Llanowar Elves. Okay, so I'd be surprised if they have any way to bounce this. So I think we're safe. Now, if they played that, though, I imagine they have something big and stupid in hand. So, let's go ahead and play out the planes. We're going to path the Magus. We'll unlock our mana. And let's see here. I think we're just going to hang out for a minute. We have Snap Path available to us. So we have 2, 3 of Snap Path available to us, Fetch and Field of Ruin. So I feel pretty good about just passing the turn here. Although this is an interesting card. So I'm just going to get in with the Kragenwick. Okay. So we're going to block it. But then, for 4 damage, we're going to play this guy. Path to Exile. Get that guy out of here. Okay. Our next piece of removal is going to get pointed at that Shaman. In fact, we might just Detention Sphere it. Okay. Alright, so they do play birds as well, so they are birds deck. Birds deck and Blood Moon and all kinds of fun stuff. Oh my. Total power creatures you control. Okay. Steel Leaf Champion. This deck plays all kinds of crazy creatures. So this Settle Wreckage should be pretty good. In other news, get planes. Also gonna sacrifice this, and I guess probably it doesn't really matter a whole lot. Basic land types probably don't matter, so we'll get we'll hit the Firelit Thicket, I guess. This is a crazy deck. All kinds of big meanies in there. Okay, Snapcaster. So let's go ahead and play the Detention Sphere out. I'm going to sphere this. While they're tapped down. Now, hopefully this play doesn't spook them into not attacking. Can't be blocked. Just power 2 or less. Good to know. And trample. Okay. Yep. So we'll just pass. And given the circumstances, I will be more than happy to 1-for-1 this Settle the Wreckage. Although I do need to start. Oh, sweet. What's going on here? Is the moment past for this? Power 2 or less. So I'll put the Finks here, this guy here, this here, just in case. But I thought that I was allowed to. Okay, there we go. There we go. So now, hopefully, we can start to turn the corner. Because again, this is not the kind of deck. Yep, there we go. This is not the kind of deck that just wants to sit back on its heels and play the control game for the entire time you're playing a game of Magic. So our opponent, unfortunately, has decided that they weren't having fun, and they left. So we'll try and squeeze in a double feature here. That was a cool deck, though. Not sure whether that was the. I'm not sure whether that is the agreed upon build or anything like that, but yeah, definitely a cool deck. So since we're just warming up here, like I said, we'll see if we can't jump into another game real quick. Okay, I think this is a fine hand to keep. So we will go ahead and do just that. Lead on the Colonnade. Then most likely follow up the Flooded Strand. Okay, Lotus Bloom. 3-time counters. So Gemstone Mine. Looks like definitely a combo deck of some sort. So these are going to be some matchups, I think, where this deck struggles. The opponent is probably salivating and licking their chops at the sight of this Celestial Colonnade. So this is most likely Ad Nauseam. Which we'll probably see momentarily when they play. Oh, it is not Ad Nauseam. Okay, so this is the new Amulet Titan deck. Okay. I have just gotten done listening to a podcast that talked all about this deck, but unfortunately, I don't feel as though it has prepared me to play against it all that much. Just because I've never played against this deck before in my life. So I know that the fact that they do not have a amulet is good for us. However, these come off of Suspend next turn, and so that means that they might just cast a Primeval Titan. Now, fortunately, we did draw the path, so we will have access to path, snap path, although they do also play Pact of Negation. So that's something that is important to keep in mind. And I honestly don't know how much, if at all, I should value my life total in this matchup, because I'm pretty sure that once the opponent decides that they're going to kill you, it's going to be very swift. And I know that I said in the deck tech about putting a Stony Silence into the sideboard, but unfortunately I did not. While the video was buffering, I ran and got a shower really quick and was excited to start playing, and so I forgot to make that change. So opponent is deciding whether they want to cast this Lotus Bloom. I'm confident that they will make the right decision eventually. This is exciting. Like I said, it was neat. I was just listening to some people talk about this deck on a gentleman named Cyrus Corman Gill. No, sorry. This was the MTG Grindcast podcast, which, put in a little plug here, can be found on SoundCloud if you have that app for your phone. MTG Grindcast is the spikiest podcast in the North Carolina something rather area, if I recall correctly. So we'll opt in response to this, just in case we hit okay. so there it is. There you go, Wayne Gretzky. You miss 100% of the shots that you never take. Cards in the deck, we have a non-0% chance to draw it. So it's quite possible that our opponent just happens to have a backup. If this was a mana leak instead, I still probably would have cast it, I think, just to force them to maybe use one of these Lotus Blooms. I don't know. I'm really not sure. Like I said, I have no experience whatsoever with this matchup. So we will see if our opponent just goes bananas here. They certainly seem to have the potential to do so. Okay, so that's not green mana. That's green mana. So this is probably a Titan. No, it's the Hive Mind. Okay, so he's going to cast a Summoner's Pact and kill us. No Summoner's Pact yet. Okay, so we do have access to Snap Negate. So I think I'm going to play this Cavern of Souls on Wizard. Okay, so there's the Summoner's Pact. And there's a second Summoner's Pact. So we obviously do not have a source of green in our deck, and so we lose. Before the banning of Summer Bloom, several probably months before that, before it was Matthias Hunt and some of the other guys piloted the deck to some high-profile finishes, I was actually slowly putting this deck together, and looks like our opponent has also left the game. So there you go. Apparently, no one wants to have fun this evening. But let's take a look and see what we would have done to sideboard. So look at the cards that would probably come out. I think Wall of Omens doesn't really do anything. Detention Sphere seems iffy. Settle the Wreckage. Also, likewise, seems terrible. Maybe take out the Supreme Verdict as well. We bring in the Dispels, Disdainful Stroke, 2 Negates. Don't think they use their graveyard at all, so that's probably not the best pick. Likewise, Cataclysmic Gearhulk looks pretty abysmal. I think Teferi would be an alright inclusion, just because it shuts down portions of their deck, makes it a little easier to play around. Then I guess we'd bring in 1 Angel just to try and slam the door on them a little bit. I'm really not sure how correct, if at all, that is, but it's certainly something that I would think would stand a shot there. So I guess we got baited with the Amulet, and again, I'll chalk that up to straight inexperience with the deck. I guess given the fact that they had the double Lotus Bloom, maybe that would have been a red herring to hold back the counter spell. But I'm really not sure. I mean, obviously that's why we lost, but I'm not sure whether that would have been the most heads-up play to make with the information that we had at the time. So, all right, tell you what, let's gun for one more here, since, like I said, apparently we're not having anyone hang around here tonight. Sometimes you get nights like this in the tournament practice room where people just being uncooperative when it comes to filming. But this is the only chance I'm going to have tonight, so we're going to try and make the most of it. Okay, I think this hand is serviceable. With the Spell Snare and Wall of Omens, there's a little bit of tension there between what we want to do for because we'd like to keep up the spell snare, but Wall of Omens also kind of incentivizes us to play it out, of course, as soon as we can, but this might be a matchup where it's not as relevant. So we'll just see how this hand develops based on what our opponent's game plan is. Okay, this could be any number of things. It's probably going to be Mardu Pyromancer if I had to just take a guess in the dark. I seem to... Ooh, nope. Okay, so we are absolutely running the gamut of interesting modern decks to play against here tonight. So we started things off with a very spicy appetizer in the new Craggenwick Cremator deck, or at least some variant of. Then we had a blast from the past, where we suffered one quick loss versus Amulet Titan. Super cool deck. The Hive Mind Pact, this is probably going to be a Goryo's Vengeance, if I had to guess, or it's a Collective Brutality. If I remember how this deck plays out. So yeah, we got served up a nice loss on our main course there against the Hive Mind kill, which, if I'm gonna be taken out in a game of Modern, it's gonna do it for me. So I am gonna spell snare this. And now, for dessert here, we get to enjoy this nice combo deck. My goodness. Okay. So, if you've not already ascertained for yourself, this hand is not set up well against what our opponent is doing, and we are most certainly dead. So he's going to get in here with Borborygmos, and we're going to do our darndest to preserve our life total a little bit. He's going to mill over some cards. Worldspine Worm among them. So, Goryo's Vengeance through the breach. I'm not sure whether this is the version that plays Nourishing Shoal or not. I imagine it is because of the Worldspine Worm. But we really need Source of Colored Mana. Okay. So that's something. And we're going to go ahead and get on the board. So typically, would much prefer to keep up interaction against a deck like this, but since we have none, we're just going to step on the gas as hard and fast as we can until they get a Glacial Brand in play. Okay, flashback looting. And of course, I just, as I'm sure you've noticed, I just did replace that 4th Rest in Peace with the Stony Silence, and so now we're really wishing we had that at our disposal. So here, I think if we tap out to play another Kitchen Finks, we could just die. So we're going to keep up this path to Exile. Not sure if it's going to do anything. And this is going to have to get a blue source for us for Cryptic Command. Is this another Night's Whisper? Okay. Can't do anything about that. I also could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that this is the most, again, I don't want to say degenerate, but the most, this deck I'm almost certain can kill you on turn 1. Or maybe only turn 2, I can't remember. But this is definitely the most, I think the most broken of Modern's decks. In terms of a raw power level standpoint. So you're going to have, what, have a Simian Spirit Guide? No. Alright, so we gotta do this. And we gotta get a blue source for a Cryptic Command. Now, again, assuming that they don't just rip a Thoughtseize or something and just kind of get us, this is our best bet, I think. So we can slowly, now, this, where we go, Glorious Vengeance. So this is the beginning of the next end step. So if we, trying to think what window, if any, we have to activate this Field of Ruin. Try and get a card back. I don't think we really have one. So this smells like a Collective Brutality to me. We do have Path. Okay, Cathartic Reunion. That doesn't kill us. I think we're on the, and not that, yeah, sorry, we can't use Field of Ruin anyway because our opponent only has basics in play. Man, all these 2-mana spells. Okay, so we're definitely gonna counter that and draw a card. So if we can hit them one more time with this Finks, it turns off their Gristlebrands. Cryptic Command would be, I think, the best draw here. It's not a Cryptic Command. Negate would probably be pretty serviceable as well. Since we have the Opt, and again, we're pinched on colored sources of mana, I'm going to refrain from playing out another Kitchen Finks, because I can't justify turning off our interaction. It's Whisper. I'm going to opt in response to this. If I hit a... let's go to the bottom. Okay. So opponent's down to 3. They're dead on board. If they can't do something, and that of course is the other side of this coin when playing a deck like this. I mean, you have a very linear game plan. Okay, so there's the Nourishing Shoal. Unfortunately, I do not have anything to counter that with. Now that goes back into their hand as well, I think, right? Okay, so it looks like they're going to get their Gristlbrand after all. It did not go back into their hand. So if they get their Gristlbrand, I'm guessing? No. They fizzle? Kind of. They have a lot of life. Alright, so here, thanks to the Mystic Gate, we can play this out and get in for 3. And then I think we need to increase the clock here. So we'll play out another Finks and hope that Path to Exile and a little bit of life gain that we just got is good enough. Okay, they're digging. Opponent has seen a lot of cards. Ooh, all right, we got him. That was intense for a minute there. So, Celestial Purge seems good. Rest in Peace seems good. Dispel. Negate. I don't think Disdainful Stroke hits a lot in this matchup, so we're going to get rid of these. I like Settle the Wreckage because it's instant speed, but I think it's also... I don't think any of their creatures are going to stick around, and I don't think they play Blood Moon. Again, it's another matchup that I'm not very familiar with. This is a really good night here to... Alright, the Wall of Omens seem terrible, so we'll remove all of those. No idea whether they have a post-board beatdown plan or not. I can't imagine these settles are good. We're just going to put in the paths and get a Lyra. Disdainful Stroke. Yeah, I can't imagine them tapping 4+ mana. Although that Nourishing Shoal, did that have a... Yeah, I'm not sure. But, alright, let's submit this. But yeah, as I was saying, the other side of this coin, where they have all this power, is that you do have to be concerned about not having a way to interact. Or sorry, not interact. You have to. Sometimes your deck just loses to itself, like it happened, like it did that last game. So we need disruption and we need a clock. And we need, of course, to be able to cast all those things. Technically, this hand does that to an extent. And it plays these ops. If they have turn 1 discard, it's really bad for us. We're on the draw. I'm going to keep it. I don't think this is a great hand. Especially if they've been a fatty here, but at least we have a Dispel. So goes the World Spine, gets shuffled in. So it looks like they're not doing a whole lot, but Negate was an awesome pickup here. And if we can continue to draw a couple lands, this Snapcaster is going to be clutch as well. And yes, I am aware that I boarded Snapcaster and Rest in Peace into the deck. I don't know. I'm kind of the opinion that I think that you're not always going to have your Rest in Peace in your hand, and when you don't have it, I think that it's fine. I guess I should have played the Strand there to opt at the end step. And there's enough times where you won't have, where it won't matter, and that the value of the Snapcaster is just too important to give up. So, if you're wondering that, that was my reasoning. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments. And yeah, we can discuss it there. I'd love to hear your input on the matter and your thoughts. So. Alright, so our opponent is binned double Borborygmus. Or sorry, singular Borborygmus. Where did I discards place? Okay, yep, sorry, I read the thing wrong. So they're tapped out. We're gonna cycle an opt here. We think we need more disruption. Although this is a threat we can play at the end of turn. So you know what? I revised my thoughts. So now we have both Negate and Dispel. And if given the opportunity, our opponent is sculpting their hand here, but if given the opportunity, we're going to try and cycle through a second opt. Okay, so there's the Vengeance. I think we're going to, since their other one is through the breach, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and try and use our mana as best we can. We will Negate. Now it's possible that they just have another one, in which case we will Dispel, and then we will have to keep up Snapcaster. play at the Flooded Strand here. If our opponent does Stone Cold nothing other than cycle a bunch of things, we will snap in the Restoration Angel, or flash in the Restoration Angel. If they try and, of course, do terrible things, then we'll have to respond with the Snapcaster Mage. Okay, this is a flashback on Faithless Looting. Yep. Another decision I'm making is I'm not bothering to interact with their cantrips and with the spells they're using to churn through their deck. Not sure whether that's correct or not, but so we'll just shock a Hallowed Fountain here, and so they do play Simian's Spirit Guide, huh? So we're gonna hold up. They do play Simian's Spirit Guide, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna hold up the resto. Okay, so the Clique's a good draw. Definitely want that. So what are we planning on doing this turn? Need to keep up Snapcaster for Opt and Dispel. I think I'm gonna click my opponent at the end of their draw step. 1, 2, 3. No. No, we're just gonna pass like this, I think. They've already used two of their reanimate spells. Looks like another flashback, Faithless Looting. We will, however, click them on their end step, I believe. And then the following turn, if we can develop our mana, well, because we have Colonnade, so we won't develop our mana in a meaningful way for next turn, but this is intense, though. I'm this is a fun matchup, and it's decks like this that really make me never ever want to leave home without having islands to sleeve up. So our opponent may have a reanimation spell. So if we go for the click on their end step, they can get this guy. So I think we're alright. We're gonna play the click. We have to start putting pressure onto our opponent. So, okay, Pact of Negation, that's interesting. Through the Breach, World's Spine Worm, Nourishing Shoal, exile a green card. Gain extra life. So our opponent is, yeah, having a little bit of difficulty. This is an interesting hand, though. To be honest, like I said, I'm not very familiar with the matchup, so I'm not sure. I guess we take the Pact of Negation. I'm not crazy about them gaining all that life, but I don't know. I don't know if we can fight through it for that long. I'm worried about the pact, but maybe it's not the right thing to take. Alright, so let's jump in there with the click. Eventually. Now, here's a thought. since our opponent doesn't have... So they have Through the Breach. I'm almost tempted to snap Dispel, the Nourishing Shoal. So how does this work exactly? Exile green card. Alright, so if they're playing Through the Breach, we're just gonna snap Negate. So looks like our opponent is taking the good beats in stride here. Yes, I do think we're getting pretty fortunate. I'll tell them about the channel here real quick. Sorry for the typing, guys. I know it sounds like a bunch of angry bees or whatever, but oh, and I guess I did say that I wanted to snap the Negate instead, but I forgot. So sorry about that. So yeah, my hands are just... But as I was saying, I just can't dream of getting out there and playing Modern without sleeving up islands. I mean, I know that, especially up until recently, Control has always kind of been on the outside looking in at all these other viable archetypes and really powerful decks. And so I've been playing Modern since 2014 or so, and I think, and again, it's only just recently that it's been a fairly competitive deck as far as I'm concerned. So there we go. Our opponent is correct. I do feel like they had a fairly lackluster draw. Yeah. But that's just what happens. And again, sometimes when you play these decks here that have just one very linear axis that they play on, you know, if they don't draw the cards they need, well then they're just not going to work at all. Because there's no way that this guy is casting any of these spells or anything like that, typically, or at least in a game that he's probably winning. So yeah, that was, again, a little weird that opponents were kind of coming and going, but at the same time, I feel like we got a really neat little sampler of Modern right there in a nutshell. That's it. And so we have this, I guess they're all kind of combo decks in a way, but the first one, of course, the Craggenwick deck, seemed to have a pretty decent mid-range backup plan. The Titan deck is similar to this one in the fact that it's trying to do one thing. You know, it doesn't play the fair game very well. If it's waiting till turn 6 to cast a Primeval Titan, they have some interaction and things like that, but they're relying on those really explosive draws to give their deck the win percentages that they have the potential to attain. So they're not looking to pay 6 mana on turn 6 for their Titans. So Anyway, hope those matches were enjoyable. Hope they were educational. We can all walk away from this having learned a little something. Yeah, the deck seems sweet. That's my hot take, my first impression. Super cool. I definitely want to keep playing more games with this. I really, as much as I love Draw Go, and not to say that I'm not trying to say that this is like training wheels deck or anything like that, but I find that these type of decks, maybe they're not quite as mentally taxing on me as the full-on control decks are, where you have to really leverage, where like all 3 of your win cons are super precious, and you have to. There's just a lot. I think there's a lot more, on my mind anyway, when I play a Draw Go style deck versus playing a tap out type mid-range deck, which I did some videos earlier when I was kind of testing my recording software and the microphone and everything with kind of like a Oops All Gideon's style list. And that deck is similar in the way that you don't have quite as many. Your decisions are much more sequencing focused, and you're much more kind of at the mercy of the top of your deck. But that's another deck that's a lot of fun, and I'm not sure if I'll ever just dump those videos on just for the sake of uploading something, and whoever wants to watch them can watch them. But that's another deck that is pretty fun, and that I enjoy playing. Again, when I'm looking for kind of just like a cruiser kind of deck, yeah, I don't ride motorcycle, but just the analogy that I just kind of thought of is, you have the guys who are on like the street bikes and stuff like that, and they're on these crazy fast linear decks and stuff like that, looking to race to the finish line and win and get in there and do their thing, and then you have some of these other decks that's kind of like, all right, I just want to tap the brakes a little bit, and just kind of head down this country road at a nice 45 miles an hour, or whatever it is people with motorized lazy boys do. So, yep, there you go. My first impressions of Curryvore's blue-white mid-range. Hope you guys enjoyed it. There will be more content on this deck coming out soon. If there are specific decks or specific archetypes or specific lists or anything like that you guys are interested in, please let me know. When it comes to blue and white, I have a pretty extensive little collection here. Again, I'm missing some of the more powerful black cards, like Dark Confidants and Lilianas and things like that, but maybe I see that Innistrad is doing a flashback draft. Maybe if it tanks Liliana the Veil's price a little bit, I might pick up a couple of those. But yeah, hope you guys are enjoying this content, and yeah, please take care. I'll see you next time.